Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Selectmen's hearings on the budgets for this evening. We're going to be going through the Parks and Rec budgets, and we have three leftover agencies, which I believe one of them is here tonight. Which one are you representing? Tri-County CAP. So you would like to come on up? We'll take care of yours first.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Jeannie Robillard. I'm the CEO of Tri-County CAP. And first of all, I want to thank the Board of Selectmen for extending us the grace of allowing us to present again. We do not have a municipal funds coordinator at the moment, so we have several of us in the business office that are doing the best that we can to get applications out and keep an eye on deadlines, et cetera. So I very much appreciate your patience.
Okay.
So our request hasn't changed from last year. We're still asking for the same amount, which is $14,436. What we do with all of the municipalities that we make funding requests from is we do it on a formula basis, per capita, so that no one municipality is bearing any more responsibility for the services that we provide there than any other. And it's also a great planning tool. I am a recovering selectman. And so I understand how important it is to have stable budgets and things not changing year from year. So this is why we developed this formula. And it covers a variety of services in the town. And looking at our statistics, the largest service that it covers is fuel assistance. And as we know, that is a pretty important service for folks these days. Looking at our statistics, we provided $336,558 worth of services in Wolfeboro last year, and we're asking for $14,000 to help us continue to do that. And I'm open to any and all questions, and will do my best to answer them.
Thank you. Board members, do we have any questions?
Nope.
No, I think we'll take it under advisement, and it was easy, wasn't it?
Great. Thank you very much. So, like I said, I really appreciate it, a do-over and a second chance.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see. Do we just have another agency walk in? Are you? Come on up.
For you our annual report. It was not completed when I sent in our application, so I wanted to share this with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name's Tara. I'm with CASA of New Hampshire. Wolfeboro has been funding CASA for a while now, and we greatly appreciate that. The money from the town of Wolfeboro supports advocates that are supporting children within your town. And advocates are in high need. We had a lot of, let me see, find the best word for it. We had a lot of cases we couldn't take last year because there weren't enough advocates, including actually 2 from Wolfeboro. And so the funding that you receive really helps us recruit in different ways, meeting the people where they're at, whether it's, on the radio ads or newspapers or, wherever we can find the new advocates to help the kids that we don't really want to lose them, So, apologies for me being out of breath. I was running late. We're asking again for $2,000. Wolfeboro was very generous and upped our request last year to $2,000, so we're keeping that the same this year. Are there any questions on that I can answer?
Board member, no?
No?
I think we're good there, so.
I think
Linda.
there's one piece of information that the volunteers have saved the state about $3.5 million.
Yes.
And I think that's word on television, and I think it's important for the public to hear that.
Yes. So having a CASA volunteer saves the state roughly $3.5 million every year. And we get that number because if a CASA is not available, like we've had this past year, we had a huge number of refusals because there were no CASAs available. The state then provides a paid guardian ad litem. And it's state funded. The family does not have to pay for anything like that, but the kids are required to have this representation in court. So the state paid guardian ad litem is about $60 an hour, plus the cost of travel, wherever they're coming from, to and from the court. The difference is that, having a volunteer advocate, one, the cost difference, but two, the paid guardian ad litem doesn't meet with the kids as often as our volunteers do. They meet with the kids monthly. They really get to know the kid and what's in their best interest. So the guardian ad litems are great because they have somebody in their corner, the kids do. But the volunteer is where the bulk of the information can come from. So that's where the $3.5 million comes from, is just, had we had to have paid guardians for all of the cases that CASA took, it would have equaled roughly 3.5. Are there any other questions? Please feel free to flip through our annual report. I also have a packet of information about other things that CASA has been doing. We're trying to, because the need is so great, we are really trying to find new ways to meet the advocates, hosting small in-house gatherings by region to get more people interested and just raising some awareness.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Still waiting on somebody to come in from Lakes Region VNA, right? So
They're not online.
If they come in, we'll do them later on in the meeting here. All right, we'll go over to the Parks and Rec.
So if I can just go over a couple things in advance, Mr. Chairman? So first of all, the other night, you made some additional cuts to the operating budget. Your two-day total in cuts is $107,192. So you've made progress in being able to cut the budget down. Additionally, I provided you with some documents this evening, updated list of the warrant articles and funding mechanisms, and a series of the warrant articles. These warrant articles have not been through legal review yet. They're just the first blush at some of the warrant articles. And just so you're aware, some articles that are not in here that we anticipate could be coming forward as we move. Locker room lease agreements for Back Bay Hockey, locker room lease agreement for Brewster Academy, lease agreement for the Historical Society, discussion about a used ambulance. I'm not sure if we will see anything from the pickleball group, and an IT expendable trust, as we discussed last time. So all of those articles are in here in draft form for you to review. Short of that, if you're set to go, we can dive right into Parks and Rec administration, and Bo and Christine are here to be able to answer questions that you may have. That budget, the Parks and Rec administration budget for 2024 contains an 8.2% increase, over $20,588 over 2024. If you recall, we transitioned a position here from part-time to full-time. And there are four full-time employees in this budget, and Christine will be able to answer questions that you may have.
Starting on page 6.
Yep. Okay. Anything to lead in, Christine? You want us to just jump in?
Yes, I did actually, I have a sheet. I did go through my budget and made a couple cuts already. I saw some place where I could save some money. So I guess when we get to those lines, do you just
Okay.
want me to disclose those?
Yep,
Okay.
okay, yep. We'll start off with the 100 series.
Yeah, I've got a couple on the 100 series. On supervisory salaries, the town manager increased what the department head had. Was that just a miscalculation, or what took place up in there? The department head asked for 121,000 plus, and you moved it to 125.
That would be the town manager got approval to put 3.5% in for the non-union positions.
So that's just when the Park and Rec brought in their budget, it didn't have that in it. That's what makes,
That's
okay,
correct.
thank you.
And that is all throughout the budget under the direction of the town manager.
Okay, I just noticed it here.
Yep.
All right.
And I also had a question on the 140 line for overtime. Department head put in for 3,200 and town manager dropped it to 804. I was just curious as to going off
If I
past
remember
history.
correctly, that's what I went by, was past history when Christine Bowe and I sat with Casey and we discussed it. We looked at the past history and thought that it would be fair to back it down a little bit.
Yep, okay.
Especially now that you have the full-time position, admin position.
Right.
Anything else on 100 series? 200 series? 300 series? 400 series? 500?
In the printing, 550, I did cut out $200 from there.
So you'd like to bring that down to 3280?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Luke, seconded by Linda to reduce that. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. On the 560 line, the dues and subscriptions was cut drastically from 2023, 7,200 down to 1,004. There,
It is our recreation software, so for online registration, it actually, if you look below, it says it got moved to the IT budget for clarity,
Okay.
I think.
Yep,
5,800.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
it was put in the IT budget.
all right. 600 series? 700 series?
Sorry, 625.
Yep.
I'm just putting that down to 50. We don't do a lot of mailings, and that should cover the cost looking at what we've had in the past.
I'll move that we move 625 to 50.
Second.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Brian to drop
100 down
line
to
625 down to
$50
$50. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 700 series? I assume you're going to spend something this year on furniture, on 750 there?
Yes.
Our line shows nothing's been spent to date on it, but,
Yeah, we actually have it in transition. We have a PO for it, but I don't think it's been pulled out yet.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we should just make sure that PO gets on it before it goes to the
Okay.
Budget Committee.
right. 800 series.
I just have a question on the 800 series. It seems like you are going to more travel and meetings, you are going to more professional development. I'm just curious, can you explain the 3 different conferences you go to and who attends them?
Yes. So for the Northern New Englands, that is the local, it's Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. That's usually in New Hampshire. That one, I have 2 people, so it could be myself, Bo, or even Molly. And that one is typically in January. And then the National Parks and Rec Conference, that is different places all the time. I just got back. I went to Dallas this year. And that's more, it's on a bigger spectrum, a lot more sessions. I have a certified Park and Rec professional certification, and so I have to keep it current. So when I take all these classes, it keeps me up to date and
Yeah. Where I get confused is because it says, under travel and meetings, it says Northern New England Recreational and Parks Conference times 2. And then under professional development, it says Northern New England Recreation and Parks Conferences 3.
So for that one, because they have a day option, it's not for a sleepover. So if Molly wanted to go, like not all of us could be out of the office at the same time. So she could take sessions during the day, but not have to travel.
So there'd be 2 full-time, and then she would go back and forth for the
Yes,
day?
like she could just take a day of classes if she wanted to.
Okay,
Yep. So that's why I didn't put travel in for that.
okay.
So when we look at professional development for this year, you've only spent 900. Is there more?
There's a PO done, I just got back, so it just has to hit the
Okay.
credit card or whatever. And then, and I just have another PO out there, so it just hasn't,
It'll be spent.
yes,
That's all I need.
it's already in the process, we just
Okay.
have to pay for it
Okay.
now.
All righty.
All right.
Anything else under the 800 series? Okay.
So your next budget will be Parks and Rec maintenance. Parks and Rec maintenance contains an 11.3% or $29,916 increase over 2023. Remember last year, we did add a full-time person to the Parks and Rec maintenance budget. However, there was some reduction to part-time staff hours to try and keep this as level as we can. And I think it paid dividends. It seemed like the maintenance on the parks and cemeteries, they were able to keep up with it much better this year as opposed to previous years. So I think we've seen some success there. Short of that, Christine will be able to answer questions you may have.
In this budget, I do have some, you'll see some shuffling. We found that we weren't spending money in some areas, and it really should have been coming out of other areas, so I did shuffle it around just for full disclosure.
Okay. Start off with the 100 series.
Yeah, I have an issue with overtime. It seems like now we've added a person. Shouldn't we have less overtime? Shouldn't we be able to cover with that?
So I think with the overtime, I try not to have overtime, but we have situations where it is required. Anytime where, winter, when we have storms and stuff, sometimes it's required to have overtime. If there's mechanical issues, we need to have overtime. And when we have like our road races or stuff like that, we try to give people time off, but depending on situations, overtime is required. I didn't actually put this in, it's automatically calculated, I thought, but I think we were just putting it with the rate of pay that they get.
I'd like to cut the overtime back to what's in the 2023 budget of $8,212. We have an extra employee. I'm hoping that will help us with getting as much overtime.
Second.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Luke, to reduce line item 140 back to the 2023 figure of $8,212. Any other discussion?
I just have a question. Linda, I would be okay using the department head request, which was $8,426. I am assuming that Jim brought it up to 11.7, looking at the year-to-date for 2022 and the year-to-date for 2023, and I think that's where he came with that number. So
My guess is we're back to maybe having the percentage. I just think that if we added an employee on here and we're looking at finding spaces in the budget, it would make sense to go back to what we had budgeted in 2023. That's my motion.
And I think we did go over a lot this year just because we had a lot of transition and we were down people. So when the new foreman took over, there was some extra time needed in order to get things up to speed. So I think it probably we could make that work.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 200 series. 300 series. 400 series.
400
40.
electricity. It's not, we haven't spent that much. We budgeted, I guess I'll leave it alone. Well, let's revisit that. I'd like to see, if I took what we've used to date, I divided it by 9, and multiplied, it would be $2,300 and some odd dollars. So let's revisit that in case we are hunting for something. It looks like there's about $700 more based on what they've spent so far this year.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to revisit, because you look at
Just to
2022 actual, they're right at that 3,000 mark, so see how it comes out for this year, as we get further down the
Yeah,
road.
Yep,
Okay?
we may leave it.
No, disregard.
I have a question on 440.
Yep.
Is it possible to save money using an outside landscaper for those aerations and stump grinder and not having to do a tractor rental?
Possibly. I'd have to talk to my foreman about that to see.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it would be the same $1,500 or one way or another, or if you spend $1,500 on rentals and then you have to have some of your employees using them, then it's more again. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I think when we got, we ended up having to grind some of the stumps, because when we got the quote, it was a little bit ridiculous in the price.
Okay.
So that's why we did it ourselves.
All right, okay. Just a question.
Anything else in the 400 series? 500 series? 600 series?
636 diesel. We spent $18.11. We spent $71.99 the year before, and the year before that, we spent $26.21. So what do you use diesel for?
It's for the pressure washer. It's for a machine.
Have you done your pressure washing?
I don't know if he did some of it. What did we spend this year?
I have $18.11.
Okay.
So that's why.
So, I mean, it's a little pressure washer, so maybe that's a little aggressive, and it seems like we could bump that down to 50?
50?
Yeah.
Okay. Not big bucks, but it's something. I'll move that we.
I did my part.
Do line 636 diesel to $50.
Second.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Luke. Any other discussion? Drop line 636 down to $50. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 700 series?
Just help me with an explanation. Machinery and equipment, just because the numbers are up and down and all around.
Yeah, so machinery equipment, if you look, I should have mentioned it when we got there, the
Yeah, I looked at it.
435, the building maintenance, we actually realized we were spending machinery equipment, it wasn't building maintenance, so I kind of adjusted it. So that's why we put what was actually associated with the building versus equipment.
Okay.
So where did you put it?
In machinery and equipment, because a lot of things were like, they were using on machinery and equipment, but it was just, we had no spot for it, so they were putting it under building maintenance.
So building maintenance went down 300. It has a negative number here that you've spent so far this year.
Negative?
You have a minus $999.
Because we didn't have that line, I had Casey add it, so we could, is that the one?
So you spent zero last year on that line.
Right.
So far this year, it's zero, right? It shouldn't be a negative number.
It shouldn't be a negative number, but there's a couple times where if they had a previous year PO that they haven't processed yet, it ends up looking negative, unfortunately.
Okay, so you're going to change that so that's not
Sure.
negative by the time it goes to the budget committee?
AC.
Anything else under 700 series?
Nope.
800 series, which is 0. Okay.
Okay, so your next budget is beaches. 2024 beaches budget contains an 8.16 or $10,082 decrease in the budget.
Okay, 100 series.
Yeah, 117. The town manager took about 12,000 out of that, but we have spent in 21, 44,000, 22, 45,000, year-to-date, 44,000, and now we're looking for 70,000. And so I'm wondering, can we cut that line back?
We can. We do need to remember it was a very rainy summer, so that's something to remember. And it's just proven, so this budget was created having a beach attendance from Memorial Day through Labor Day. It's not realistic for the workforce out there trying to find people to do that. So we did our best to get them out as much as we could. Seems like it was more when school got out is when they were available in order to doing that Memorial Day. So we did bring some people on to kind of help do things, but we couldn't man the beaches because we try to have 2 people at a time.
So knowing that.
Yes.
And knowing what you spent, do you feel you can cut that line back?
We could, but just knowing that it would be more when school gets out that we have people there. Versus, which I think is fine. I mean,
Anybody have an issue?
That's fine to me, yeah.
Anybody have an issue?
No.
All right, so how much would you cut that back by what you spend during that time?
I would have to go and work some numbers just to have the
Okay,
weeks.
let's revisit.
Yeah, I'll revisit.
117, and then you come back and give us, he's taken out some of the money, so let's look if we can get some more out of that one.
200 series? 300 series?
341, telephone. Do we really need to be paying for telephones at beaches?
It's actually the camera.
Okay.
Well, let's put phone dash camera.
Yeah, so it's,
Right, so-
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just for the camera. I got rid of the telephones. We don't have telephones.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that
perfect.
makes, if you do that.
Thank you.
400 series?
431, we spent a little bit shy of 3,000. Oh, the town manager cut it. Okay, never mind. It was cut out further.
500 series? 600 series? 700? And 800 series?
In 800, 830 for programs. We didn't run the swim team this year, but I still have money in this budget. So I looked through everything, and I think we could reduce it by $2,195, which would leave enough in the budget for me to do the parade fee, the perpetual plaque, and the state swim fees, and all the other things we can purchase this year, if that
Does
works.
that leave?
So reduce it by $2,195.
$675?
So moved.
670.
Second it.
Motion by Luke, seconded by Linda to reduce line item 830 down to $675?
660.
That's what you,
He
Yes.
said
Okay.
2,100
680.
off.
yep. Any other discussion? All in favor?
680.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Anything else under 800?
So your next budget is programs. The 2024 programs budget contains an 8.98% or $13,197 reduction compared to 2023.
Okay. $100 series.
Yeah, part-time wages. I see that we've only spent 40, close to 40, and is there anything in here for senior programs in that line? Did you calculate any staff time for senior program in your part-time wages?
In this budget? Yes. If you look, it should be under referees, the last one, senior program assistant. So I did 14 hours for 52 weeks at 17.
Page 29.
Okay, so my question here is, could we not do that and take that money out of the money given to us from the donation of the 25,000? Can we not do it here and draw directly from the donation account that amount of money to cut the budget?
Technically, no, because you're hiring somebody, right? You will be hiring somebody, and it has to go through payroll, so it really can't. You can have a offsetting revenue, but you still do have the expense.
Okay, so is the board comfortable with us drawing that out of whatever the amount is? I guess it's 13 when you're out of that donation account. So we'll, in other words, could put down here offsetting revenue of such and such from the 25 donated in 2023.
Sure.
Is that where you'd like to use that 25?
Yeah, so I put some in the wages, and then I have some, you'll see in my program line for the actual trips and programs. So I think it's still the same money, it's just coming from a different, right.
I'm looking at less what we have to pay from,
Yeah.
get from the tax rate, and more that if we have money, we should, this is, of all years, we should use it.
Right.
It's my feeling.
Okay.
So that was what I was trying to do. So if we can just note, put an asterisk and just say on that one, we're going to take that from we'll transfer the funds in from the donation account if people agree.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Luke. Put that notation in there. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 200 series. 300 series.
350, we can reduce that to 150.
Okay. Reduce line 350 medical services to 150.
Second.
Motion by Luke, seconded by Brian. Any other discussion to lower line 350 down to $150? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 400 series.
Yeah, building maintenance. There's a big increase, and I'm trying to,
So it's an increase there because it's decreased. Was it this one? So the building maintenance is for the pavilion. I had the bathroom cleaning, I think I had it originally in outside
Outside
services.
services.
So I just moved it because it's a building, and I figured it should be with the building.
okay.
I was going to ask, are you okay with outside services? Because I saw that big drop.
Yeah.
And now I know why it got
that's why,
dropped, because
yeah.
it moved to the
I was
other
trying to keep things associated with the building together, like an outside service in my mind would be
Okay.
somebody we're contracting out. That's not really a regular thing.
Yeah.
So,
Do we have the same person that does the town dock bathroom and the,
I believe so. So what I did is I actually split this out too because originally I had a bigger amount, but I was utilizing it for beaches too. So what I ended up doing is I broke it out with the pavilion bathrooms. Then I have some for Albee, and then there was some for Abenaki. So it is the same group of people that are doing the other ones.
good.
Yep.
so you took this out of outside services, right?
Originally,
Yeah.
yes.
So I would put a notation here under building maintenance, move from outside services.
Okay.
So, they understand what
Yep.
you've done.
I have a question too on line items 412 and 413 for the water and sewer. I meant to ask this back on the beaches portion, but it might relate between them. Are those bathrooms at the pavilion used, are any of them used year-round, or are they shut down for the winter?
So this past year, we used them for our offices. The pavilions have the capability, so they do have the capability of staying open all winter, but we have to make that decision ahead of time because, for instance, we kept 2 of the bathrooms open, so they were able to be used, but we drained the other one and the bubbler. This year, we didn't really have an intention on keeping them year-round, just because the issue is it's not really plowed over there, and we found that out when we were down there. So like trying to get to the bathrooms is a little bit cumbersome. So unless there was a specific reason, we would need to know if we were going to keep them open. And we didn't open the one under the pavilion because that was really hard to get to, so it was just the ones that were right by the door.
Close, yeah. The reason I was asking was, we have the monthly unit charges for water and for sewer. Whether those have to stay in it, for, 12 months a year, or if that could be, if you shut them down for 5 months or 4 months, whatever, if that could be reduced. And I meant to ask it on the beaches, because that's.
Yeah, I know it's a
obviously more.
seasonal account, but I don't know how that goes, because usually I end up using all the money that I put in there. I'll have to check on that. I could follow up with that.
So we should revisit those lines.
Yep.
When we built those bathrooms, the intention was to winterize them, but only to use them if we had some big event down there or there was a need. And what you're telling us, by the way we plow, it really.
I know. I was like, okay, I guess we can't get to them.
It didn't make sense to do it without having the capability.
Right.
And also if you had a real cold fall, which we don't have
Well, and
anymore.
it definitely worked this past winter. So
Yep.
it actually ended up helping us when we moved our offices down there.
Could I also ask just to jump back to also put a revisit mark on under beaches, under those same 412 and 413 for water and sewer? Be the same question I had there too, so.
Okay.
500 series. 600 series?
I have 500, I have general operating supplies. Did you shuffle stuff again?
So this is 610, is that where we're
Yeah.
at? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, because it's gone from
so the-
7,000 to 10, and now we're up to 24.
Yeah, so this one is upped because we added the programming and meals at the bottom for seniors.
Okay.
But I actually want to reduce it by $820. I did pull out, I found some ways we could save. I know that's not a lot, but it's minus 820.
But we haven't, this year, we have not put on any meals, and where will you put on the meals?
We have been putting on meals. We're doing them in Abenaki.
So you're doing it twice a,
So we've been doing it once a month. We're doing this in November. We're doing a lunch and a breakfast. We're doing a veterans breakfast, and then we're
Okay.
doing a lunch.
So you want to reduce it by 820?
Yes.
So it's 23,357.
Is that a motion, Brian?
Yes.
I'll second it for you. Motion by Brian, seconded by Brad to reduce that by 820. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Anything else on the 600 series? 800 series.
Okay, so
Professional development. We've spent 1,000 this year, you spent 1,000 in '22, you spent 687. Will you be using the rest of the 2023 budget this year?
So I think some of that issue is a lot of it is if they're background checks and stuff, if they're under the age of 18, I don't really do them.
Okay.
So I save money there. We didn't do our professional development just because by the time we got people on, and then CPR and first aid, a lot of people already had it, so we had a handful of people. So I budget based on what we would hire, but it really just depends on if we use it that year.
I'd like to revisit this budget. We still have some more in the money that we were given, and based on where we are when we've gone through all the budgets, we might want to apply some more of that donation to this budget.
That's the 820 line?
No, the whole budget,
Oh, the entire.
yeah. When we look at it, see if we feel like we,
Revisit the program.
and that's to find out decide whether we want to empty out that donation account.
Okay. All right. Got Community Center next.
So next budget is a community center. The big increase here is internet services at that location. We previously didn't have it, and it really became problematic. We were having some meetings there in previous times, and there was no internet connectivity for negotiations and whatnot. And Christine's programmed that in, and we're using it, and it's been very helpful. So that's one of the major increases in this budget.
All right. 300 series. Assuming the telephone is for the camera down there like we talked about. At the-
No, so this is just the internet. There is a phone there too, but it's the internet. I think that's the bundle of it, yeah.
And this
should
is
we
what
write
happened when
telephone,
we
internet?
changed our company, that increase, when we went to First Light on the telephone?
No, this is the addition of internet services at that
Okay.
location.
We had nothing there. We didn't have a
There was
phone or
nothing.
Yeah,
internet.
so for telephone, can you put telephone/internet services?
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what you need.
Okay, 400 series.
I just got a question on 435. Just a question. Do we strip and wax the floor every year?
So actually, I pulled out, on my thing, I have pulled 985 out. So we're doing it this year, so I don't think we need to do it next year. So we
My
actually
my
have,
only question was, is that the front of that building needs a paint job, no matter what's going to happen in the future with anything. That building needs a paint job, at least the front of it. I mean, could we
Move the.
985 to some painting?
I don't think that's going to cover it.
Okay, just the front.
I mean, if you really, I really wonder, if we want to do the painting, we should do the painting.
I think the building, at least the front of the building needs a paint job.
I could buy you paint for $9.85, Luke.
I could buy you paint, we could do it. Let's revisit it. Maybe I can come up
Okay.
with some ideas, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Or put it
So are
for
we
a
doing,
car.
we're not deleting the 985?
No, let's keep it there for now, if
Okay.
that's okay.
We'll revisit line 435. Anything else
Can
under
you find somebody
400?
to paint for that?
Yeah,
Floors,
it's gonna be Brian.
question.
I already said I'd buy you the paint.
600 series. 700 series. Okay.
So the next budget is the town docks, the dock attendants. You'll see that the amount expended this year is down. Remember, we didn't have a wonderful year of nice sunny weather for boating, therefore it wasn't used as heavily as it has been in the past.
All right, get on the right page here. 100 series. 200 series
Town dogs.
and 600 series.
Is that going to cover the new safety rings?
Safety ring, oh yeah.
I believe it does.
Okay.
All right,
The next item is patriotic purposes.
this is for the American Legion. Nothing has changed from their previous request from last year.
800 series is level funded.
And they used all of it this year.
Yes. I think they're still in the process.
Next item is fireworks, level funded. No,
No.
it's not. It's increased by 1,000, I'm sorry.
So when I got the fireworks, I signed a 3-year contract, and it was $13,000 this year, $14,000 next year, and I think it's $14,500 the following year. I'll have to double check that. But we made a 3-year commitment, so we're at least locked in for 3 years.
And the year-to-date actuals for the 23,040 includes the donation money from the laser light show? Or,
It's the expenditure for the laser light
expenditures.
show.
I'm sorry, what was the
so
question?
the year-to-date is $23,040.
Right, that is actually what was spent. 10,000 of it is offset by a donation, but
Yes.
you don't net down the expense, you just increase the budget.
Okay. Should we notate it so people understand that there's more than just fireworks there?
I think so.
Because people are going to look at it and say, whoa, we got 13,000 for fireworks, we spent 23,000 for fireworks.
What an amazing show.
Yeah, how do we manage to do that?
So that was for the,
But I'm confused now.
What I think they're saying is the Budget Committee will see this and say, you spent 23. If you put a note, 10,000 was for the laser light show covered by a donation, what we spent in 2023 is clear.
But aren't we moving that to the EDC for 24?
But they're going to still, yes, we are, but they're still going to ask that question for 23.
But if I put the note here, this is 24's budget. You know what I mean? Like, you can't put a note on 23's actuals.
Well, what we may be able to do is have an itemization of the expenses.
That will do it,
That'll do it, yeah.
yeah. I think we're just trying to get them to realize that we didn't overspend that we have the revenue to cover it.
Anything else on the,
Just a thought for Christie and the fireworks. Have we ever thought, I think we did it a couple of years ago, but have we ever thought about like offering like sponsorship for the fireworks show? Like I assume it goes out in like there's a flyer printed with all the summertime things and the fireworks show and
Yep.
all that stuff. I mean, it might be a good idea to try out if you
Sponsorship.
put it out there, it could offset some revenue and it could offset some expenses and potentially there might be some companies out there that would, want to donate.
okay.
okay.
Okay, so the next budget is the Clark House. Just so you're aware, when we get to the capital outlay, there is a capital outlay request for the Clark House. Christine will be able to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. 400 series.
Do we have the same issue with water here?
Yeah, so I think, I just checked that out, so I think we can drop the 500 from, hold on. 500 from water, take that away, because I don't need that usage. I guess we're in the usage range, so I don't need that extra usage. We stay in the range with the fee. But for sewer, I guess it's 2290 times 12, so that would be 371. So it should be 130,
135 and 371.
correct.
Let's do these one at a time. Somebody, I'll make a motion to bring down 412 to $135.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, could I?
Okay, that was line item 412
Thank you,
to reduce down to 135.
135, thank you.
I would make a motion on line item 413, sewer, to drop that down to $371.
Second.
Motion by me, seconded by Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Anything else under 400 series? 600 series? 800 series?
The Historical Society is here for the 800 series if you have any questions.
Okay, so moving along to the cemetery's budget. The cemetery's budget contains a 16.2% or $4,788 reduction. We've discovered that the new full-time employee that we've hired in Parks and Rec has been helpful in helping to maintain the cemeteries. We do intend on continuing to use trust fund monies for continued stone repair and restoration.
Okay, 100 series?
Yeah, I want to know why we only spent $3,388.50.
So we did not have any restoration this year. They weren't available to do it,
Okay.
so that was definitely out. And then with the cemeteries, we were able to get out to some of them, but we didn't hire any part-time people, so we ended up just using some of our people. So we had some part-time people, but it was mostly our full-time people doing them.
And you think you'll be able to hire people next year?
So we did, I mean, the part-time people we did hire were great, but typically when we've hired them, it was like more of a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
We've hired people with limited hours availability, so it's just been a little bit slow-moving, but we definitely have them. So they come out of the cemetery budget when they're in cemeteries, but also they're in the maintenance budget, so it's shared between the two.
Okay.
Brief comment?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm Gene Deneau from the Wolfeboro Historical Society. About a month ago, I was asked by a visitor to help her find a tombstone of her family in the Pine Hill Cemetery. She hadn't been here in several decades, and she asked me to express her appreciation to the town, how good the cemetery and the stones were. So the grounds were beautiful and the stones were maintained very, very well. She was of the Kenny family and had about a dozen relatives in the old part of the cemetery.
Very nice. Anything else under the 100 series? 200 series? 400 series? Do we get into the usage? Oop, go ahead. That's all right. Under 412, Christine, in the cemeteries?
Yes.
The water? Do we, same thing that
Oh,
we're
I should
gonna
check
need?
that one out. Let me check that one out,
Okay.
because that 500, that might be the same thing. Can we revisit that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So revisit 412?
Yep.
Casey?
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
Casey was just informing me that the American Legion, we did not spend all the money yet, but I do think we were doing it a different way this year. I was asking them to request the funds from us so we could pay the bills. So I just need to follow up with them to see if they have given me all the bills that were necessary, but I will follow up on that.
Okay.
Would you like to put that as a revisit?
Probably it'd be nice to know that.
Yep. 600 series. Okay.
Okay, so I believe that takes care of Christine's Parks and Rec budgets. Now we have Abenaki. Abenaki contains an 11.2% or 19,294 increase over 2023. Note that part of this is because of the wages associated with the director. We have looked at the budgets, we've looked at factoring this out, and it makes sense that 25% of the Director of Operations wages go to Abenaki, with 75% of those wages going to the Pop Whalen Arena. So that's why you'll see an increase in those lines. Chuck is here to be able to hopefully answer any questions you have, and Christine might have to back us up on some of it.
Okay. 100 series. $200 series. 300 series. 400 series.
Yeah, 400 series, can you tell me, Casey, why in 2023 we have that minus 5,000? Is that, where did that go, or why is it a minus? Or
It would be the same thing if they had a prior year PO encumbered and they haven't used it yet, it becomes negative.
if you haven't used it, it becomes...
That's correct.
So they have a PO that's unused,
From last year.
but they used it in this year?
No, it just makes it a negative. You carry over, like you're going to spend it,
But-
but you haven't
but-
spent it yet.
They didn't spend it in 2022. Has it been spent in 2023?
Correct.
Correct. It has been, okay.
Anything else in the 400 series? 500 series. $600 series. $700 series. $800 series.
Yeah,
Yes,
Travel and meetings and professional development.
and programs, we can go all three.
yeah, I was kind of curious on the travel and meetings, why there's nothing spent to date if it's going to be. Of the $800, we're at zero.
I believe that's for, that's a good question, actually. It was for some training, I think, that we were talking about doing with the new groomer.
Are we on 810?
810,
It
yes.
says a National Ski Conference,
Conference.
$400 for $1,200. And it says the town manager increased it by 400.
400, right.
So can you,
Will you guys go into the National Ski Conference this year?
Not right now, or not, no. Yeah,
So they did not go to it in 23, correct.
We had changing of the guard and we were with the rink opening and all that, we just didn't have people that we could send.
Is there a lot of value in going to that, Christine? Is there a lot of value in going to that?
Typically, one of the past is the Norman and we send our snowmakers. There is some value to go to it. I think it was just hard because we had so many new people that we really couldn't give the manpower away. I do think there is some benefit for it, but I mean, it's up to them, but I do think there is benefit and value. It's a good way to meet people, put Abenaki there, and then kind of talk to the bigger hills, and maybe there is some, room for hand-me-downs and stuff like that.
Where is it? So it's just a day trip?
It's usually a 2-3 day trip, so it's an overnight. So it could be a day trip, but I think it's typically in Vermont.
And in February, isn't our snowmaker having, or our groomer?
Also grooming too, so that's why, if we had enough people, then
Yeah.
we'd make it. But since we had like a new foreman and new people in the mix, it just really didn't work out. Less the break, because that was kind of new too, so it was hard to send someone.
So you kind of anticipate probably doing that this year, you think, this coming year, 2024? Chuck, you think you'd try to send
Well,
somebody?
yeah, I'll try to send somebody, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Jim, you raised it by 400, and I was looking at the number and saying, oh, maybe we can cut it, but obviously you felt there is a need there that they all go?
Right.
Exactly. So one of the things that was previously done was employees would frequently share hotel rooms. Kind of want to, if you're going to a conference, your own room. So that's what the increase is for independent hotel rooms versus joined.
Yeah.
So it wasn't based on you thinking 3 people need to go, because it seems to me...
It would be 3 independent rooms if we were to send 3 people.
Yeah, so then my question becomes, do we need to send 3 people, or do we send 1 and they bring back the
Yeah, that's what I was just
information?
going to say, report back. One goes, reports back to the.
This year particularly.
No, I hear you loud and clear. But
Okay.
that's one of the things that we've tried to, we talk heavily with a lot of departments that, going forward, independent rooms just
I have no
because.
problems with the rooms, but I'm thinking
Yep.
about how many we have to spend. So I'd like to cut 810 down to $400.
Second.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Brian to reduce line 810 down to $400. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now any other 800 series?
Yeah, well, then you need to go down to the National Ski Conference and cut that down to 1. And that would be, subtract 180 from that. $1,110.
$360 decrease.
What line number?
820?
820.
820, you're taking 180 times 3 down to 180 times 1, correct?
Okay.
Correct.
So the whole line item goes from 1990 to 1630, a decrease of $360.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that your motion?
Second.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Luke. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Okay.
That's programs, so it's typically we're doing those programs, so does it still, because he's managing the Abenaki budget, would it still stay there, or should we put it under programs, because we're running programs?
It should go to programs. It's a program,
8:30.
right? I would move that to program. If it's still under you, then it should be to program, because he's not going to want to buy
That's Winter
ribbons.
Carnival, right? Yeah, that should be
Yeah.
moved to programs.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
That whole line item should go, all the way down to.
Yeah, the ski, yeah.
Race lessons.
The
Okay.
ski lessons, the pre-race lessons.
Yep.
All that should go.
So you're going to zero out 45204, 830 to 0, and increase 45206 by that $2,000, is that correct?
4, 5.
206, so you're zeroing it out of Abenaki and put it in under programs, is what I
Correct.
think I'm hearing you.
Correct,
Yeah.
whatever the numbers are.
Yep. So it's just a wash, but a motion is being made to do those two things? Zero
I made
out?
that
What's the motion?
motion, you heard that, right?
I did.
Second.
Just reiterating what you said, Linda.
Yeah, I thought so.
Brian, did you second it?
Yes.
Seconded by Brian. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. As long as Casey's got it straight, we're all set.
That's right. She's got to keep her eye on us.
Okay.
Okay, so the next budget is the hockey arena. This is our annual allocation for community ice time. $100,705.
Okay. It's all in one lump sum on line 830.
I was in there today, and at around 9:30, there were a bunch of men at stick practice, which I was surprised to see.
Every day.
Every day, they're
Every day.
everydayers. Yep. Just so people know that you look at it and you say, oh, why would you put stick practice then? But I was pleased to see it.
Yeah, good. Good.
Okay, so that takes care of the budgets. The next item is capital outlay, no, Pop Whalen, sorry.
Whalen.
Goodness.
Pop Whalen,
Yep.
back.
All right. So, Pop Whalen budget.
It is.
So, being an enterprise fund, we have a standalone account for personnel administration, which includes health insurance, life insurance, dental, workers' comp. That budget for 2024 is proposed at $45,002. Mind you, that may be reduced in that November timeframe when we find out what our insurance rates are. We've programmed them at what is anticipated to be the high end, 10%, but let's hope that it comes in at 5%.
Okay, so we're page 1, right?
Yeah, it's
Yep.
just that cover page, really.
Just 200 series there.
The 100 series. The hourly wages.
Yep.
Heck did that go?
So that would, where is it?
Okay.
So that's the more. Hourly wages is more?
So you got, yes, that is correct.
Okay, all right, now I see it.
And Chuck is accounted
Yep.
for us at 75%. Our technology services budget for this holds fast at
0.
at 0.
Yeah, we did purchase a computer for the new director in '23, but no replacements in '24, obviously.
Where are you on this, Jim?
I don't know where he is either.
Yeah.
And then,
Jump into page 4.
I think this budget may be a little bit disorganized, at least in my book.
I think I'm following the same book you are.
Okay, so the Pop Whalen budget.
Page 4 starts the actual budget.
Right.
1 is personal administration, page 4 is the actual budget. Is your book not following that, Ruth?
Yeah, my book's a little off, that's okay.
Okay.
So the budget shows a 3.4% reduction compared to the 2023 budget, but mind you, there was a motion made on the floor to increase that budget, which was all-inclusive of the director's wages. The director, since that time, we've factored him out 25% to Abenaki. So that's why you see a slight reduction in this budget. Short of that, we can try to answer any questions that you have, and we are very actively tracking the revenues. We're hopeful to come very close to breaking even this year, and we anticipate coming in front of you within the next month to 6 weeks with rate adjustments for the upcoming year. So with that said, we can try to answer any questions you have about the budget.
In my, I don't have those sheets in my budget.
Yeah,
book
it's not in mine either, so
Yeah, so we're
I'm not sure
missing-
what happened to,
Look back there, the ones he has, I don't have those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
No.
I will get that printed off.
Okay.
Graphs. I don't have the graphs.
So, everybody's got the 100 series through everything, right? Mm-hmm. So go down through the 100 series. 200 series. 300 series. 400 series.
On the 433 machinery maintenance, you increase it by 3,500. And the Zamboni is an older machine. Do we have enough for repairs in that?
Close,
Close.
it's close. We're doing more now, but we, try to hold it together the best we can, so. We put a new head on it this year. The one with the spark plugs are seized. It should be, hopefully it'll be fine. But by the end of this year, with the new water pump going on, put a new head on the machine, they straighten the conditioner, straighten the dump card, so.
And we're using a different contractor, which I think is going to be beneficial for this machine going forward.
Okay.
Hey, Chuck, may I ask you just move that microphone a little closer to you so they can pick it up easier up there? Thanks. Okay, let's see. That was the 300 series, 400 series. That was 400, 500 series. 600 series. $700 series. $800 series. And 900 series. Okay.
So that takes care of those budgets. The first item, Christine and Parks and Rec had submitted several capital outlays, which you had, which are in your book. Many of them were removed. One of them was for a tractor. While I think the need for a tractor at Parks and Rec is critically important, I couldn't move that $100,000 ask forward this year, given the budget. There was also a capital outlay.
Starting on page 11.
There was also a capital outlay for cameras and electric gates at the beaches. That may be something that could be coming forward at another time. Based on the review of it, it seemed like it was a little premature. So that's something that Parks and Rec may be looking at further in the future. And then I believe the next one was the one that I authorized to go forward with. We've talked about this for several years, and we need to have some engineering done at the Clark House Museum and Complex. So you have a capital outlay request in front of you in the amount of $16,470 from Quantum Construction Consultants to come in and give us some recommendations for a path forward for that building, and Christine can answer any questions you may have. The scope of work is attached for your review.
This was a project that was previously looked at by the director prior to me. And then when I took over the position, money was running out, so it just got closed out and nothing was ever done. And so I reached out to them just to see, because the Historical Society has been asking me about it. And so I reached out to them. They updated the quote, and that's what I put in the packet.
I think it's one of those buildings, I remember in 2017 going in, and some of those sills are pretty rotten, as I recall, and it, so long you can put it off until you really have
I
to
know.
do it, or you really run into trouble.
So with the schoolhouse, I know that we did remove that flagpole that was hanging from the building because
Yeah.
that was coming in. And we did fix some of the sills, but I think the flooring is all uneven and stuff, so that's why we're here to talk about that.
Yeah, we've done some electrical work, we've done some plumbing work. We've done some of the measures that we can do to keep the building stable, but we're at a point now where we really need some professional guidance as to, okay, what do you do next to keep this building stable for years to come?
I think they had some windows redone in one of the buildings there. Didn't they? Have a whole set of...
Ooh, sorry.
But that was me that did
Sorry,
that.
it was me.
Any questions about the capital outlay request? I assume that these will be talked about greater in detail on the 30th.
Yep.
I know that the tractor was thrown out, and so was the beach ones. The beach ones, we were looking at, because it's so hard to get staff, we were looking at having like a mechanical gate with cameras. The cost was a little bit more aggressive than we liked. So then I did pull out the gates and was just liking the camera aspect of it. I understand that we're in a tight year. so I'm fine if we pull that out right now. But I think the tractor is something we really need to consider. Our concern is, how are we going to remove all this snow that comes off the Pop Whalen building? We're using the New Holland, but I'm hearing that that's going away, so it's not even going to be an option for us. And
Did you look at leasing?
so we did put a request into the company. We're waiting, we don't have that information yet, but we did look at that as an option. But I think we have to come up with something, because if we were using it just for a project, you could set a date and whatever. But for snowstorms, and with the almanac saying we're going to have really bad snowstorms, I think we need something that's there for us. So we are checking out the leasing option to see if that's better. The quote we did have was very aggressive, so I had my foreman bring it down to a more reasonable quote with the basics. I think he got it down to $63,000. And then we have options to add things. And then he did give me a list of all the things we would utilize it for. I think part of the issue is not having a piece of equipment like that. We're always relying on another department if they're not using it for us to do it. And so it's really hard sometimes when you have the crew, but you don't have the equipment. And so that's really where we're at with that, so.
Yeah, I'd really try to, I think your best bet would be to get a leasing number. It might be that may put you into a much different situation, so.
So if she were to come back with you, do you,
I'd revisit it.
in advance, obviously I wouldn't want to hand it to you the night of the 30th, but if I can get you some lease document numbers.
I think that makes sense for us to look at it. And so the Public Works, wouldn't they come in and move the snow?
that's
You
what-
don't do it after every snowstorm, am I correct?
So typically, we plow our own parking lot. With the new building, just with the snow coming off the roof, it's too much for us. We've had to actually have a bucket loader to lift it up and get rid of it.
Right.
So we relied on them. We didn't really have anything. But we were using their New Holland, but I guess that is on its last leg, so they're not doing any more fixes on it. So when it goes out, they're done. So I think what they're trying to get is skid steer.
They're looking at a skid steer for replacement.
Yeah, but we were trying to work with them, but they're already working with water, so it seems like Parks and Rec's needs really can't work with their needs as well. We're both needing it at the same time, so it doesn't benefit either of us. So that's why we kind of need our own piece of equipment.
And I support their own piece of equipment. My only concern is, if we're getting a piece of equipment that accepts attachments, then from a common sense standpoint, they should be similar tractors to be able to swap attachments from X tractor to Y tractor to benefit everybody, as opposed to be used for a short period of time. But if she can put together something, we'll sit down and try to work out a schedule to get that to you in advance of the 20th, or in advance of the 30th for revisit night.
Yep,
That way you have it.
I think that'd be good.
Let me look at the schedule. We are scheduled for hopefully next Monday. There is a budget review the 23rd. If we can have it for you on the 23rd, that would give you a week to digest it and review for the 30th.
Yep.
And I guess what else I'd like to know is what other equipment we have in town that is similar, that could be used, and if we got it, what equipment in town we could exchange different equipment from.
Attachments.
So I do think that when you get into your capital outlays, I think that there is a tractor in there from both Parks and Rec and Highway/Water, that you can do some comparative analysis as to will these be compatible or not.
Okay,
So we'll get that together for you.
I'll put it on the revisit list.
You can try to get something together, Tom.
It's already in there.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, so the next item up is, and don't expect a whole lot of input at this point, but the conversation becomes the groomer at Abenaki. So I've put down 3 options, and I'll just read through them very quickly, and Chuck can try to help answer any questions you may have. Option 1, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the existing Abenaki Capital Reserve Fund, which is under the custody of trustee of trust funds, with the selectmen designated as agents to expend. That's been our standard warrant article for a number of years. Option 2, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $130,000 to be added to the existing Abenaki Capital Reserve Fund, which is under the custody of the trustees of trust funds, with selectmen designated as agents to expend. Or option 3, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $225,000 for the purpose of replacing the existing Abenaki groomer, said appropriation to be offset by $95,000, which represents a portion of the Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Fund, and $130,000 from general taxation. So those are the 3 warrant articles that you have to consider relative to Abenaki. There is a desire out there to replace the groomer. I know Chuck has had some work and evaluation done on the groomer. I'm not sure if he's prepared to talk this evening about the condition of it and the anticipated life cycle of the machine. But that's kind of the 3 options that are out there based on the CIP process and the CIP that was adopted. Do you have anything you want to say about the condition of the machine?
In another year, it's going to need a new conditioner on the back because the tines on the are getting too short. So they keep lowering and lowering it into the snow. And we're running around 11,000 hours on there now. So I think it's reached the end of its life cycle according to what was laid out before. Other than that, we put, new tracks on it last year?
New tracks were installed last year.
And
I believe there was a new drive system installed a couple years previous to that. There's been a significant amount of funds put into the machine since about 18 that I'm aware of.
So with adding the new, from what I gathered from talking to Dave Whitcomb, with the new trail that's been added, it takes them a lot longer with that machine. Not being as powerful as what we're looking at, taking more time to groom the whole place, so.
It's getting more use now, too, then, obviously.
It's getting more use, and it's up around, 10,000 hours, so, pretty soon they're gonna have to rebuild the lower end of the diesel, of the Cummins engine, so.
So again, this, is for when we get more into those warrant article conversations. I'm sure if you have an opportunity to go to the Hill, Chuck will give you a tour of the machine so you can see it and make an informed decision. But those are the 3 known warrant articles, or a version of warrant articles for Parks and Rec and Abenaki for this coming year. Short of that, Mr. Chairman, I believe that is everything.
I know you asked me earlier about a warrant article. The only one I was thinking about is bingo. Did we talk to you about
We can talk about it tomorrow.
that? Okay.
Okay. So that wraps up the budget process for this evening. Do we have any public input?
Oh, don't all rush up.
I see nobody
Anybody online?
jumping up and down online saying that they would like to.
Anything else from the board tonight before we get a motion to adjourn?
May I say one thing? The town audit came in today. I believe the town manager has forwarded it to you, and the auditor plans to be here on the 23rd to present it to you.
Okay. On that
Just
Monday.
wanted to get that on the record.
Okay.
That is not a normally, that's a budget hearing night, not a selectman night, but in the interest in getting him here to do it, that was the most
just get it
Timely
there.
time he could do it because of that Wednesday he wasn't able.
Yep, yep.
And we can pick up a hard copy?
I only have electrical copies right now, but if you want a hard copy, he was going to deliver them Monday night, but if you want a hard one, I'd be more than happy to print you off one.
If he's going to deliver one later, I can handle it later. I like to
Okay.
write notes on it, but I don't see the town paying to print it when he's going to walk in with
Yes,
them.
he's going to hand them out on Monday night, but you have them electronically. If anybody wants a paper copy before then, I'd be happy to make it.
And then from that point, once he presents to you guys, we'll have the electronic version put on the webpage. And I'm hopeful that tomorrow the electronic budget book will be on the webpage.
How about a used groomer?
That's what I'm looking at.
At the company up in Vermont?
No. Company's out of Concord,
Penroth.
Penroth.
There's a
would
company
say-
called Track up in Vermont, and they have many, many lightly used groomers available.
I've seen it. But we got it printed off now, and they're putting us on a list, so. When they get, at the end of the year, they get a whole tracking record of every groomer that's going to be traded in. So,
I can call this company, they say they have a whole bunch of them available right now.
okay.
I'll check. Maybe they don't. It looks like on their sites they're available, but
Yeah.
maybe.
I think Chuck's got that going, so he's looking into that for us. Anything else? I've entertained a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.